there will be approximately 63,559 homeless people in New York City. In recent years, homelessness in New York City has reached the highest level since the Great Depression of the 1930s. The Coalition for the Homeless states that people become homeless for a myriad of reasons, including loss of a job or lowered wages, healthcare crisis, increased rent, a family emergency, or even landlord bullying. Some other reasons include eviction, doubled up or severely overcrowded housing, domestic violence, and hazardous housing conditions. Homeless people continue to fill the streets of New York City more and more as Mayor de Blasio recognizes and finally discovers a way to help them gain permanent housing. I had the opportunity to hear Mayor de Blasio's press secretary, Eric Phillips, speak about homelessness in New York City. The mayor very boldly has said we need 90 new shelters and we're going to put them across the 5 boroughs. And some communities that don't have enough shelter beds for the people who call their neighborhood home and are now homeless are going to have to absorb some of those shelters, said Phillips. However, municipal shelters aren't always the best or even decent option, since most aren't set up to accommodate special circumstances, such as people living with serious mental illnesses, like PTSD or mood disorders, which could potentially endanger a lot more people than just themselves. Tight-fitting dormitories are laid out in a traditional barrack-style arrangement, which doesn't leave one with enough room to be the slightest bit comfortable. Also, the countless number of rules and regulations that everyone is supposed to conform to is not an easy feat for most and only adds to the atrocity of shelter living. We want to transition these people from the street to shelter, then into transitional housing and get them the support they need, whether it's mental health, whether it's addiction support, to get them the help they need so then they can move into permanent housing on their own, said Phillips. We can't move people off the street until they trust us. When they trust us, we gotta have a spot for them to go in the shelter. When we've got shelters, we need to have enough shelters. Then, what we need to do is move those people from the shelter into actual affordable housing. After some of the horrific situations that some had to endure, trust is a big issue. This is probably the biggest step of all in order for the community to start working with the people on the streets. The mayor's promise on affordable housing is to do 300,000 units. 300,000 affordable homes over the next decade becomes so important, and it takes a little while, said Phillips. There's a street homeless challenge that the mayor early on has very much admitted that he didn't take aggressively enough, that he didn't react to aggressively enough over the last couple of years. That's changed. We deploy essentially a team of outreach workers to help convince people to come into shelter, said de Blasio's press secretary. This is definitely no easy task, as there is not a lot of space in New York City to build anymore. The only way this could be accomplished is by tearing down some of the old buildings and ultimately starting from scratch. All eyes will be on de Blasio now to see that he makes good on his word in order to help the lost people of the community. He's done a great job so far in recognizing and voicing the urge to step up and make a change for these people. Now the community must urge him to press on toward his goal.